This is Bishop's Park College in Clacton-on-Sea, a seaside town in a largely white working-class area of significant deprivation. A large number of Bishop's Park students are in public care. Since the school opened 5 years ago, they've developed an approach to education which allows their large school to operate on a more human scale.
There's 3 different schools in our school, one called Towers, one called Lighthouses and Windmills. I'm in Towers, which I've been there since I've started the school, which I wouldn't like to move because I think I've started there and I'm used to that. I'm used to Towers now.
The entire school, both staff and students, are divided into 3 autonomous communities, each of which has a maximum capacity for 300 students.
I'm Mike Davis, and I have the wonderful privilege of being principal here at Bishop Park College in Clacton. Unless you really know children really well, then actually you can't challenge them. We have this idea now, and we have for the last, 5-6 years, about personalisation. You cannot possibly personalise unless you know. So it's about creating an atmosphere which is purposeful but relaxed. An atmosphere in which I know that I count, but I can be challenged, and that challenge I will be supported. But you can only do that with the creation of learning communities, teams of teachers, in areas actually which make sense.
There is nothing traditional about the approach Bishop's Park takes to education. At Key Stage 3, for 4 days of every week, teachers and pupils within each of the 3 small schools work on themed projects, and on Fridays they break into groups to do masterclasses. This is Mike's early morning staff briefing, where he calls together staff from all 3 schools.
Okay, bon voyage, thanks very much.
Today is Friday, and this English masterclass is led by Kat Wallace.
He clasps the crag with crooked hands, close to sun in lonely lands. Ringed with the azure world he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from his mantled walls. Like a thunderbolt he falls.
When you have them for a whole day for a masterclass, it's really important that you grip them very, very early on, because if you've got 5 or 6 hours with the same group, then you have to really take them on that journey.
The school can organise these masterclasses because their small scale allows their timetable to be flexible.
We read that amazing poem, which was The Eagle by Tennyson, and we realised that it was a very clever poem. Even though it was a very old poem, it was a very, very clever poem. What did it have in it that we found interesting?
In the first verses it had 7 words in each line, and in the second verse it had 6 letters in each line, and it had 8 syllables.
And what other things had it got in it? Who can remember a line that they particularly liked from that?
It was something like the eagle went like a thunderbolt.
Yeah, we described the eagle like a thunderbolt. So he'd used similes as well, hadn't he? And he'd used personification. Okay, so we've spent some time this morning looking at animal poetry and talking about why are animals endangered. We've been looking at poetry, we've been looking at pre-1914 poetry, we've been looking at the use of language, we'll look at persuasive writing this afternoon. It's important to sort of try and get that quality, is to try and interweave as many different elements as possible. So the whole creation of the mask, we've got time to do that in order to then be able to work effectively in role this afternoon.
Though Mike Davis is head teacher with responsibility for the whole school, one of the key strengths of Bishop's Park is that each of the 3 small schools has its own principal. This is Frances Holloway.
Is she fierce like a tiger? Yeah? Is she?
I don't think that we ever have a child who we don't know well, and that who has no one in the college that they can relate to.
If, for instance, you need to talk to someone about a problem within the lessons, you can talk to anyone you like, from an LSA up to the head. It's that sort of relationship where hierarchy doesn't matter. It's a friendship more than, you know, I'm in charge, the top authority. It's not fighting for top dog all the time.
Strong relationships between staff and students don't happen by luck. Tutorial time is set aside during the working week, so the staff can really get to know the children in their care. This is Ed Constantine's tutorial group.
So, Katie, you say your positive achievement this week is that you've been told that you're going to get an overall A in maths.
Coursework I'm an A on.
So if I get a B in my test paper, I can get an A.
You're still going to get an A even if you get a B?
Yeah.
What about if you get a C?
C, I'll get a B.
And what do you want?
I want an A. We just talk about our achievements of the week and everything. And it like gets the teacher to help them know a bit about us. And we ask questions about him and or her, you know. And it just seems like it's like sitting at home, you know, talking to your parents.
So you good at drill?
Yeah, I haven't been doing it that long, so
no.
The drill competition, but...
Are you in the drill competition?
Yeah.
Do you know how to build your boots up?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to teach you.
Spent ages yesterday doing my shoes.
Yeah. Are they like mirrors?
Yeah.
Do you use parade glass?
Yeah.
A little tin of water?
Yeah.
You know all the tricks.
Cotton wool.
That's brilliant. Oh, good luck with that on Sunday.
Okay.
Some of the things they wanted to talk about are about what they do outside of school. And that's, you know, part of my role is to help these students to consider that their learning continues after 3:30 on a Friday throughout the weekend, and it's about them celebrating the whole person as opposed to just what we traditionally perceive as the learner, which is the Monday to Friday. Yeah. Well done, Katie.
Always pay my nails. Oh, we have some great times in our class, we really do. I think all the form members in there really make it like the class.
It's lunchtime at the school.
You don't have any forgotten children because you're working within such a small school. If you've not necessarily been able to spend as much time as you'd wanted to during the time that you'd had them, you know that you'll see them over lunch, you'll see them over break, and you can sit and have a conversation with them and make them feel special and important to you. Because ultimately I think all of our students feel that they are really important to us as teachers, and as teachers we're really important to them, and you know, we have a great responsibility there.
They know me quite well because if they know when I'm in the wrong and when I'm in the right, really. So they know when I'm lying as well, which really I do lie sometimes, but not a lot, because I think there's no need in the school because they understand everything that you talk about.
Woman, won't you take your anger out to the girl next door? 'Cause I know what you're thinking, I don't understand this anymore. Despite all of them teeth, you keep on licking on my chocolate heart. Thank you.
Right, today we are going to do a human MOT. First thing, what's an MOT?
Make sure it's safe on the road.
Make sure it's safe on the road. Excellent, yeah? Other reasons, anything else, why?
Richard O'Connor is a trained PE teacher, but at Bishop's Park, no teacher gets to just teach their specialism, which came as a surprise to Richard at his first staff meeting.
We all sat down as a mini school, as Towers as a mini school, and we said, right, who's going to teach what? And I was, hang on, I thought I was employed as a PE teacher, and I'm, you know, nudging on the lead teacher's shoulder and saying, I'm just teaching PE, aren't I? I said, no, you know, what other things could fall underneath your umbrella, as it were? And I said, well, I suppose, you know, half my degree was in science. You know, I've always been brought up, and I was half trained as a science teacher, so it would make sense that if I try and take on the science role. 20 seconds. But it was just a complete, as it were, culture shock. Why would you do a human MOT? What is the point of testing us?
To see if we're healthy.
See if we're healthy. Off you go. Go.
So this masterclass is a combination of sports and science.
Stop. 20-metre sprint test. Okay, what component of fitness could that possibly test? Sorry?
Power.
Power, excellent.
Isn't that our job? Isn't our job something to do with inspiring young people to articulate what their concerns are, interests are, and then helping them scaffold ways in which they can then begin to understand and move forward? That's what we try to do here at Bishop Park.
Having 3 small schools clearly allows students to develop close relationships with their teachers. But there is a drawback. Staff in each of the small schools have to share the responsibility of teaching the whole curriculum. Does this mean students receive less specialised teaching?
I think that in the 4 years that I've been here, I've stopped thinking of myself as a linguist, really. And now I teach children, and I teach children whatever anybody suggests that I should teach them.
Your group, you're going to come here. Ultimately, we are teachers. We're educators of the youth. All teachers have key fundamental skills, you know, human skills, social skills, personal skills, their own, you know, I'd like to think quite a high level of education themselves, which they can, you know, they can pass on.
I think some of the really best lessons that we've got to learn are taken from primary, and I think that's what Bishop's Park has tried to do in terms of its Key Stage 3 thematic curriculum. It's not to work in subjects, it's not to separate everything, but to work around these key questions that really encourage our children to sort of think about the world that they live in.
And at Bishop's Park, they believe that their thematic approach is working.
Do you think we should kill one of the only animals we don't have much information on? They are harmless unless you threaten to hurt their babies, so please help the polar bears and save the world.
That was a real lovely summary of everything that we've been working on today, Jake. Really impressed with that. Well done.
What's it like being a teacher at Bishop's Park?
The only difficulty with coming to work at Bishop's Park is that you can never leave, because once you've worked in this way, it would then be, I then would find it incredibly frustrating to go and then work back in the English department or the science department or the maths department, and I think that's the only shame, is that more schools aren't adopting this way.
One day a week, students at Bishop's Park have access to clubs, freeing up time for teachers' CPD. These clubs are run by outside experts.
How do you do black and white on this?
Okay, you have to go to the image, and once you've clicked on the image, you go to adjustments, and you have a whole list of different things that you can do, and this is all about the colour and how to focus the image, okay? If you go to desaturate, okay, that will get rid of all the colour within that image. Okay.
Okay, jump.
The school's achievements include the fact that they haven't had a teenage mother in 5 years and no permanent exclusions. Mike Davis's vision for his pupils remains crystal clear.
So we want somebody who will actually be a good dad or a good mum, somebody who will be a good neighbour, somebody who will be a good worker, somebody who will be a good leader, somebody in a sense who will have terrific dispositions in terms of accepting diversity and be tolerant, be enthusiastic, participate in democracy, but always have a sense of hope that tomorrow can be better than today, and I can be an author together with you of that tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a person that finds it really hard to think what I want to do, because at one point I wanted to do hairdressing and beauty, and then I've gone off of that idea when I've got older. I mean, I don't know why, it's just that I've wanted to do it all my life, and then I think, oh, can I do something else? Can I make something better of my life?